let's go ahead and get started. All right, and let's see how we're gonna set everything up today. So what we have in store for us today is we're gonna have a conversation with a Twitter mutual of mine. I can't say his name because it has a bad word in the name, so we won't say the name of his Twitter handle. But if you join the Discord, then I'll have his Twitter @ there. Kid Rock reportedly splits from fiance after being seen with Lauren Boebert. Link it, okay? But we're not going to talk about that right this second. Okay, so so we're going to be doing a discussion on Trump's stuff with Ukraine here with Mr. I think he's going by Demetrius. While talking to me on stream. Yeah, that's his name in my Discord. So, but yeah, talk about Trump's bad response to Ukraine and just like the Trump stuff in general. I don't know like if it's going to be like a whole ass fucking debate because I haven't been paying too much attention to politics. But if you guys have been watching the stream recently, you guys know that. But I've been paying enough attention to politics to know that everything sucks. So we'll talk to Mr. Demetrius about that, and then we'll look at Mr. Destiny's response to everything, which I have gathered was lackluster. But I don't know what the general sentiment on that is, to be completely honest. I do not know what the general sentiment on what Destiny's response was like. How's it going? Hetal Petainy posted link in Kick Chat. Fuck, I don't have Kick Chat open. Can you DM it to me on like Twitter or something? Kick Chat. Fuck me. Oh no, I just closed out a tab that I didn't want to close out. Oh well, you know what? It's the less important of the two. Playing a game? Yes, I will be playing a game here in just a minute. You know what? I just realized I don't have my vertical shit set up. There we go. We'll be playing Supermarket Simulator when we get to that. Man, why am I talking with so much? I'm talking with so much vocal fry. I don't know what the deal is. What's wrong with me? Just open it, you lazy boy. Okay, you know what? Fuck you. Okay, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Let's see here. kick.com/chat room? No, it'd be /Sondsol. Chat. Which? Well, I'm going to be playing Supermarket Simulator. Okay, let's see what this is. Kid Rock reportedly slips from fiance after being seen with Lauren Boebert. Oh, that's literally it? Oh, well, I guess there's a... I don't use Reddit, so I don't know about the links.
Well, I look like I'm ready to hit the slopes, I can tell you. I'm in...
What's so weird about, like... And you can kind of see it happening with, like, the Elon stuff and, like, now I guess with the Kid Rock stuff. I do wonder if there's going to be some weird, like MAGA aristocracy that you like marry into and you want to have as many like children in the MAGA like aristocracy as you can. Like Elon definitely has that going on. I think that he has a breeder kink, right? And then fucking Kid Rock going with fucking Boebert and breaking up with his fiance. You had the fucking the crazy looking woman during the election, Laura Loomer, being a hanger-on of Donald Trump. I guess I could have posted in your Discord. Yeah, you could have, but you didn't. What's the fucking deal with that, asshole? But anyways, let's see.
Full-on ski gear here with my hat, gloves.
Be outdoorsy.
What the
For
fuck?
as little as 99.
I try and change the volume and you put me on an ad? Fuck you.
I mean, I can't see you right now, so I don't know what you look like.
Well, I look like I'm ready to hit the slopes, I can tell you. I'm in full
Anybody?
on ski gear here.
This is a
with my,
37-second. This is a 37-second fucking clip.
Well, I look like I'm ready to hit the slopes, I can tell you. I'm in full-on ski gear here with my hat, gloves, the whole thing, ready to rock, because you got to be wrapped up against the elements, don't you?
I love to go skiing. I love to go skiing. You sound sexy. You want to go with me?
Oh no, that was so fucking bad, dude. That was so fucking embarrassing, dude.
I see you right now. So
Bro, if I said something like that on live fucking television, and then I had that response from the woman, like that long of a fucking pause, you just slowly see a fucking shotgun come up from underneath my desk, just like, oh, okay, I got you. Like, Jesus Christ, that's so fucking that's so bad.
Well, we won't get into that right here, so we're...
Cox Business Fiber Internet delivers...
Fuck off. Jesus Christ, that's so fucking rough. Okay. But yeah, so we'll be doing that stuff here in a minute. Let me see something real quick. I'm looking for this. Okay, music is a bit loud, so I'm going to turn it down like this. Pope is in critical condition? I thought that he made it through the night. Man, you know what would really suck? If just like one more institution went fucking full fucking crazy MAGA shit, you know? I mean, people know that he only has one lung. I did not know that. But like the current Pope is like, seems like a genuinely like kind person and like a genuinely like, you know, Christ's love type Pope. Just imagine like one more institution, the Catholic Church, electing a new Pope that's just like full like spread his cheeks for fucking Donald Trump, dude. I don't know. Everything's already bad. It wouldn't be that much worse. It would just be like one extra thing. Anyways. I told him 30 minutes at 3:58, so we got another 8 minutes. Wait. No, we still got 28 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus Christ. 18 minutes. Christ, I can't fucking think. But yeah, we'll just wait for people to kind of pile in while we wait for... Okay. And in the meantime, if there's any like fun news that I don't know about, or if there's anything that you guys want me to open up in tabs for after the conversation, now's a good time for that. But yeah, we're just going to, I think immediately after we're done talking to Mr. Demetrius, I'm going to eat a massive fucking edible. I like streaming high now. I used to hate it, and now I love it. Maybe we'll play some fucking Overwatch. Who knows? Who knows? The world is our oyster. Wait, and also, did I make a Discord notification telling people that we're live? Yes, I think I did. Announcements. Yes, I did. Cool. All right. Then I'll go ahead and I'll start opening up some of our content suggestions, but I'm not sure if we'll actually be able to get through any of it. Here, let's watch this
I
really
don't know
quick.
anything about almost everything. I don't know how helicopters work. I don't know what's keeping the stars apart. But I do know a lot about one thing. In fact, I spent the last 4 years writing a book about it. The book is called Everything is Tuberculosis. And the thing I know about is tuberculosis, our deadliest infectious disease. And so I know what happens when you interrupt a course of TB treatment. Now, TB is a curable bacterial infection, but it's not easy to cure. Like, maybe you've had a case of strep throat that takes like a 7-day course of antibiotics to cure. TB takes like 4, maybe 6 months, maybe longer. And if, say, your 4 or 6 or more months of antibiotics are interrupted because, I don't know, the U.S. government puts a freeze on all foreign aid and claims that life-saving medicine is still moving, but it isn't moving. When that happens, and it's currently happening in countless cases, you have a much greater chance of developing drug-resistant tuberculosis. So say your medication is paused for 2 weeks or a month. You go back, you treat the infection with the exact same antibiotics that were working before, and suddenly they don't.
Oh, shit. That makes sense. Because the reason why you don't want to stop taking antibiotics is because the ones that survived are going to be the ones that are more resilient to that antibiotic, right? So even after you stop feeling sick, you want to keep on taking that antibiotic to kill every single last fucking one of them so that they don't start regrowing inside of you and be more resistant to the drug, because then it'll be that much harder to fight later on. And that goes for anyone that you pass it on to, because that same bacteria will be passed on to someone else and it'll start replicating inside of them.
Don't work anymore because the infection had a chance to evolve resistance. Now, this is a catastrophe on a personal level because it means TB is harder or even impossible to cure. It's also a catastrophe on a societal level because it means there's more drug-resistant TB floating around, and when left untreated, the average case of drug-resistant TB will infect between 10 and 15 people per year. So that's what happens when stop work orders leave drugs sitting in a warehouse rotting rather than getting to the patients that need them. Millions more people get tuberculosis. The tuberculosis they get is harder to treat, and the disease becomes even deadlier than it already is. I don't know anything about almost everything. I don't know how helicopters work. I don't know what's keeping the stars apart, but I do.
Got it. Everything is bad. Okay. I guess what we can do is we can go ahead and open up the... One second. Addresses his lawsuit. How's it going? Anime guy likes anime. Oh shit, I totally missed Dank Brandon. I've always said that Ukraine should never have invaded themselves with Russian troops. It wasn't smart. True. Don't forget to bring a towel to what? To watching Destiny stuff?
Purpose. Why write this?
So we'll watch his response. Here's my question for anybody watching that has seen any of Destiny's response. It's from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh, I haven't seen that. Sorry. But yeah, no, the Destiny thing, if anyone's seen that in chat, I've only seen other people's reactions to it. And it seems like people are saying it was like wholly just like bad. It was a bad response. I bet you'll like it. I probably would. It does seem like my speed. I just haven't had a chance to like watch a lot of movies. Alrighty. Well, I guess what we'll do for right now is I'm going to go take a piss. I'll tell Demetrius that we are ready to talk, and then we'll get into the discussion. Okay, let me just see something here. Alrighty, yeah, give me 1 second. Hey. You off work? Nice. Alrighty then. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and jump into here. I'll make sure that he has all the roles he needs. Okie dokie. So I just told him that he can jump into the call when he's ready. He has perms to do so, so shouldn't be a problem. Oh, you know what I should check? I should see if the thing that shows people's... one sec, let's go to the overlay, sources, Discord. We'll see if that works. Don't panic and carry towel is a variation of the famous keep calm and carry on phrase that includes a reference to Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, I have no idea. All right, so in the meantime, we're just chilling and playing Supermarket Simulator. Actually, no, you know what? We'll start it. We'll listen to the beginning of this, and then once he jumps in, then we'll do that, and we'll restart it when he's done.
On January 20th, 2025, Pixie created a Substack post, which you can see here, signaling her intent to sue me. She has since filed her lawsuit in which she claims I shared explicit material we created together without her permission. Until now, I've stayed away.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey there.
All right, I can hear you. Alrighty. And, uh-oh. Let me see something. Okay, your name is showing up as Demetrius on my screen. All right, we're all set. All right, no one's getting banned today. Let's see here. So for people watching it on Twitch and YouTube, this guy, I can't say his handle, but I will put it into YouTube chat, since if I put that into Twitch chat because of them being who they are, I'll likely get in trouble. But he's a mutual with me on Twitter. There's that at right there. And we're going to have a free-flowing conversation about Ukraine and Trump and all sorts of fun things. How are you doing today, my dude?
Pretty good. Except Twitter, man. Man, I thought Trump had a crash out. Woof.
Everything. I've been a huge politics enjoyer and politics follower for the past 5 years, right? Changed my college degree to political science, about to finish that out, and it just feels like literally everything that I started, getting really into this country about is like going up in fucking flames, all right? It feels like it's going up in flames, and one of the big things was Ukraine, dude. Pull me back from the edge. Pull me back from the edge. Because every single fucking thing that I see, every article that I read, there is I don't see the hope. I don't see the hope pill that you got, okay? It feels like major cope.
Well, the big thing, and you've seen the meme, I am sure, if only you knew how bad it really is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that involved. To be blunt, the situation as it now stands is pretty much settled. Both Ukraine and Russia have mostly culminated in their ability to maintain offensive momentum. Their troops are exhausted. Their equipment stockpiles have been drawn down. And as you can see, the Russians, they're technically still advancing, but they're down to using mules for logistics. Mm-hmm. Right now, their only hope of victory is to keep bleeding Ukrainian manpower and hope that'll lead to a collapse of the Ukrainian front. But the Ukrainians have always had the upper hand when it comes to drone production. with here and there, the Russians innovated before they did. For example, fiber optic drones. The Ukrainians wanted to go all in on autonomous drones that could target things with their own onboard camera vision. And then they eventually said, well, shit, the fiber optics are working pretty good. Let's just go with that. But now that they've caught up, I mean, it's just not looking good for Russia. How best do I put this? It's really hard for Trump to give away anything in negotiations here. Everyone's worried he's not arguing from a position of strength. Well, all he's given them pretty much at this point are words. I think like recently he wanted the UN to withdraw some resolution condemning the Russians. And it's like, big deal. These resolutions pretty much amount to words on paper. They do not put warheads on foreheads. And if buttering up Putin's ego is enough to, let him sell a ceasefire, cool. And what's going to happen is nobody seriously believes the Russians are going to go for peace permanently. There's going to be a ceasefire. The Russians will start rebuilding their forces. We're going to start rebuilding Ukraine. And the question is whether or not we can rebuild the Ukrainians faster than the Russians can rebuild their forces. Who's going to win that next fight? And to be blunt, to quote Payron on this, Western military-industrial complex goes berg. Of course, That actually requires us to kick our industries in the high gear and actually take the modern security environment seriously. But Vance just did that in Europe, and the Europeans are actually doing it, which is good. And Hesketh is just 8% of the budget is being reallocated to new priorities, which means some things are going to get deprioritized and others, like missile defense, is being prioritized. That's a real good sign because that means we're leaning into great power conflict and not endless brush wars. That's missile defense is the kind of thing that backstops that. It's we can do it. We can do it. And the Russians are at such low ebb right now, there's not much in the way of concession they could demand that would actually change anything for them.
Or they could continue to fight Ukraine with their seemingly endless fucking manpower, even if they start using mules and shit, right? If they want to continue this fight, they can. Ukraine can't, right?
Yeah, actually, the aid package Europe's kicking together right now, they could definitely extend Ukraine's lifeline here for a couple years minimum. If there's just no good reason to do it, when it's bleeding Ukraine of their most precious resource, personnel, and bleeding Russia of their most plentiful resource, personnel. Now that they're down to attacking on motorcycles with bird cages on them, there's not much more of their equipment to blow up. And personally, I'm not really worried about this because we have 2,500 to 3,000 Abrams tanks out in the desert, mothballed. These are not active duty U.S. Army vehicles. They are in storage from the Cold War surplus. We sent Ukraine 31 under the Biden administration. 30 effing one. We can definitely send more.
Yeah,
we
but
can
does it
definitely
sound
do
like,
a lot more.
But see, like, this is the problem that I have, right? So, like, I don't even necessarily disagree with anything that you've said thus far. I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. The problem is that when we're talking about, like, Europe getting more involved, yeah, Europe needs to be more involved. The Biden administration was pushing for that. The Trump administration in the first Trump administration was pushing for that. Trump is now pushing for that. Yeah, I think that Europe should be pushing, way more money and both into Ukraine and into their own defense. 1,000,000%. Don't disagree. But the problem that I have is the total, like, abdication of any responsibility that the president of the United States has to use his words in any way a responsible manner. The fact that our president is literally repeating word for word Russian propaganda, right? You don't disagree that Truth Social thing where he said that Ukraine started this, that we've given them $350 billion, and it was all for nothing, that Zelensky is a dictator, that hasn't held elections, and that he would be willing to, say that the Russians can add into their own negotiations that Ukraine has to have an election that the Russians will almost certainly attempt to interfere with. The fact that we went to them with such an unbelievably fucking aggressive, minerals deal that they would obviously not accept because it's either get raped economically or get raped by the Russians through warfare. Like these things are hyper fucking concerning, especially considering like Tulsi Gabbard, the person who RT called Russia's girlfriend, it like was on record like 2 days ago putting out a video saying that Zelensky was a dictator, that we shouldn't be funding them, that all these young men are dying and it's all for fucking nothing, and it's something that could have been totally avoided if Ukraine had just not started the war. Like we're staring down the barrel of the United States like top brass at the highest levels repeating Russian propaganda talking points that I know that you specifically have called out in the past, right? And and this is like Russian talking points being repeated by the president of the United States. I think that every single Cold War era president is like spinning in their grave, the centrifugal force of the presidents spinning in their graves after all of the fucking blood, sweat, and tears and deaths that went into, like the behind the scenes and the front facing part of the Cold War. Like the centrifugal force of them spinning in their graves could power America for the next 5 millennium. Okay. With Trump saying this
Trump,
shit.
As far as we can tell, Trump went on to Truth Social after Zelensky shot down the mineral deal first draft, and he crashed out and got mad and did what Trump always does. So sometimes the people that now work for him, I think didn't he do this to J.D. Vance at some point? It's kind of a short list of people he hasn't gone on social media to savage. And my take on that
I think
is
it's a little bit different
suboptimal.
between, it's not just suboptimal. There's a difference between calling like Marco Rubio Little Marco and shit like that, or like Ted Cruz Lion Ted, and then like taking the intelligence that a hostile foreign government is putting out there and has been putting out there for years to make us stop supporting Ukraine is now these are like massively different. It's not just a crash out. It is a like nigh on apocalyptic failure of American intelligence communities to. No, it's not even a failure of the intelligence communities, because the intelligence communities are saying, hey, these things are lies. I don't know who I can say that it's a failure of, except for the Trump administration, to allow those things to, because let's be honest, I don't think that you or I are going to say that Donald Trump is some 5 million IQ, Giga Chad, like monster intellect, right? I think that if we sat him down and started talking about the Ukraine war, he probably wouldn't be able to tell you why Russia started the war or anything like that, right?
And now here's where we get back to if only he knew how bad things really are. Assuming that he didn't just get big mad and just start spouting off the half-remembered shit he saw the usual influencer saying. Pretend he believes all of it. He doesn't like Ukraine, and he sees them as just another little pissant state having a tribal fight with the other pissant state next door. Does Russia actually have the ability to exploit that?
I mean, they I was just about to say, I do think that they can use that as a point of and I think that even I can't remember which of the 5 articles I read this in, but the Russian delegation and the Russian foreign operatives that are dealing with trying to deal with the UN and other people and shit like that, they're all fucking taken aback. They cannot believe that Trump is talking like this. They're celebrating. They're like, yes, this is exactly what we've been needing. They're sitting hooting and hollering, and they're trying to recalibrate because they were in a much weaker position with the United States saying, hey, we have a strong stance. Ukraine can fight as long as it fucking wants, and we're going to give them missiles until they fucking say, you know what? I think we've lost enough dudes. I think we've lost enough land, blah, 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 blah. Until Ukraine wants to stop, we're going to keep on giving them missiles, and you guys can suck our fucking fat American nuts if you think that we're going to stop. right? Now Trump is signaling that, hey, we actually, these motherfuckers aren't letting us rape them for their resources. We don't get to bend Zelensky over the side of the fucking, Oval Office or the Resolute desk and just rape him in front of all of the entire world to see. So because they don't want to do that, we're just going to let them fall to the Russians. That's how the Russians are seeing this right now, openly. And they're excited about it. They're coming into the negotiations with a much stronger hand than if the United States was like, yeah, no, fuck you, you Ruski, like sub 20 IQ Russian piece of shit. You're not getting anything.
They can do
from us.
that, but how is the United States going to get those minerals if Ukraine collapses and Russia takes it all? When you put your stamp on their mineral deposits, most of which are concentrated in the east. So it's not like this is saying, well, if you can go right up to the big river and take literally half the country,
let me be
which is
ultra
the most
clear.
valuable parts.
Let me be ultra clear. I don't care if we get a mineral deal out of Ukraine or not, right? But having one that is so unbelievably aggressive that it, like, people are likening it to the Treaty of Versailles after World War I for Germany, like, I think at that point, I think it's totally fair to say, yeah, Ukraine didn't ask for this war, and now they're getting raped from like their own allies when that kind of proposal goes up. I'm
certainly, but you got to remember the disinformation environment is being driven by a hell of a lot of sources familiar with the matter, or officials familiar with the matter. And if you were paying attention to the kind of language the German politicians were using when J.D. Vance said, we have been begging you for 35 years to meet your minimum spending obligations. Now we are telling you. Wow, the reply from the Germans was apocalyptic in nature. For something that is not a surprise and has been said by multiple American administrations, both Republican and Democrat. So I'm not really trusting any of these leaks or any of these claims, but I think there's one that really illustrates the situation.
Wait, hold on.
One of these
I just want to make sure that, because what was their response that was apocalyptic that it didn't feel like the thought
at least
completed?
One high-ranking German politician that was kept anonymous, but this was reported in the Foreign Times, which is one of the Financial Times, which is one of the big outlets where politicians like this will phone them up to bitch. That's normal. He literally called the United States an adversary. And they were already saying, well, we must get nukes now. Nobody ever said anything about withdrawing the American nuclear umbrella. Vance didn't say it. Trump hasn't said it. That hasn't even been brought up. Vance said we are going to shift our priority to the Pacific. That doesn't mean we're going to withdraw crucial capabilities like that. But they have gone off the deep end, and they're saying
they're talking about taking our troops.
Relations.
But the United States under Trump right now, they're talking about taking all of our troops out of Eastern Europe, which is one of the demands of Russia. Like I saw that
one of the claims I wanted to talk about.
Right, but like
that one especially is a really good illustration of why I think people are miscalibrating this a bit.
I need to ask a question really quick.
From the Russians. Hold on, let me get into this. Mm-hmm. Of all the demands rumored to be asked by the Russians, that was the one that is not happening the most, because we're already moving troops out of Germany to a new base in Poland. And that's because the fact that the Germans are pretty much out of NATO has been on the wall for years at this point. That's not really a surprise. And Poland, as Vance himself said, we view as a model NATO ally. And that's where the front line is now. The front line was Germany back when Poland was in the Soviet Union. Now it's not. It's Belarus and Russia. And we've also got missile bases. The anti-ballistic missile defenses, those are stationary buildings. We can't just pick those up and move them. So pulling our troops out of Eastern Europe at this point is laughable. Here's the funny part. We could do it, and it wouldn't change a thing for Russia. They would not be able to get anywhere. If they attacked Poland, for instance, the Poles would whip their asses. Before the current war, where the Russian army had their entire Soviet-era stockpile vaporized in Ukraine and were force-fed their own balls. Before that happened, it was assumed the Russians would have their hands full with Poland. Poland would be able to hold out easily until the rest of NATO could mobilize and come to their defense. We could mobilize American troops from Kaunas and get them over there in time, no problem. The Baltic states are much smaller, but we have an entire Marine air-ground task force worth of equipment, and that's a heavily reinforced brigade, if I remember correctly, in Norway, in caves, stored there. And if we pulled our troops out of Germany or Poland or whatever, we'd probably go station them all there. Those caves can hold quite a few pieces of equipment. And if your equipment's over there, you just fly the soldiers in, which takes like 6 hours.
Sounds like to me.
That base, hold on, listen,
Yeah.
that base is a 24-hour boat ride by amphibious ship to the Baltic coast, and it's only about 700 kilometers away from the Baltics itself. And since Finland and Norway are new members, we wouldn't be able to station planes in there, but we wouldn't have to. As soon as the balloon goes up, since they are now in NATO, we would be able to station tankers in those countries at their air bases, and they would be protected by Norway and Finland and Sweden, I should say, Finland and Sweden's air power, integrated air defense systems, surface-to-air missiles and all that. Basically, the sky would be made out of F-35s, and the F-35, when it comes to the Russians, as we found out in Ukraine, their EW systems, electronic warfare systems, and their own radar systems don't deconflict with each other. They cannot see and cannot jam at the same time. That's why what on paper is one of the most powerful air forces in the world has effectively been unable to operate directly over the battlefield. They have to rely on standoff munitions because Ukrainian SAMs are that effective at denying airspace to them. These are supposed to be the second best in the world.
Right, I know that they're supposed to be.
It's hard to describe just how violently the Russians would get their asses kicked if they tried to attack either Poland or the Baltics. And this is assuming we give them this huge ass that would never fucking happen.
Right, but
That's
like
how
even the
badly
fact that
they've crashed out.
Well, it feels like this. The uncertainty with the messaging of the United States to our allies, it feels like there's no reason why any of them should be certain that we we still will be able to help them as long as we have these caves and all these weaponry that is a 24-hour boat right away. And even if they do get attacked, then we'll just be 24 hours away. Even if we do capitulate to Russia's most crazy ask. But the fact that our allies are wondering whether or not we would capitulate to Russia's number one crazy ask, and that it is a legitimate question even here at home, because everything is on the table and everything is held close to the chest. We don't know precisely what Trump's position is at any given fucking time. It depends on who he talks to last, and that's bad. One of the things that is the strongest marker of a strong nation is having consistency. Telegraphing your move is a really important thing to put everyone else on notice, right? Which is why, for instance, we could go in and we could destroy fucking Iran, right? We could if we wanted to. You don't disagree with that, right?
Matter of fact, I think we should.
I mean, whether we should or shouldn't is on some days I do feel like we should, but on other days it feels like the instability that we cause. Stability is the number one thing. We could go in and we could destabilize the entire Middle East and create a power vacuum in Iran and do all of that, and we could destroy them in one day. Or we could put them on notice for every single fucking thing that they do, right? If you do this thing, then we're going to retaliate in this way. And because we said that we're going to retaliate in this way, then you can't escalate it any further without being the bad guy, right? That's something that in international relations, I don't know what the specific term is, because it's been a while since I had a foreign policy class. Do you happen to know? Because I know that you're in that world.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying. Putting people on notice is an important thing. Not going full, doing your full fucking force attack on the first fucking thing, because whatever action you take against another person is going to be reciprocated, right? Which is why you say, this is what I'm going to do. You're not going to be able to stop it because we're motherfucking America, right? So that's why we had the joint operations with Israel, where Israel bombed the fuck out of them. We gave them intelligence. Everybody knew what was going to happen. That's why Iran, for how much it hates Israel, wants to telegraph what it's going to do to Israel. We're going to shoot in 16 hours, 5,000 missiles at you. And this is going to be, our final thing. You should stop attacking us because we're sending such a big attack at you, right? It's signaling to each other. What we signal, the way Trump is signaling right now is signaling fucking weakness. Like, we're not signaling strength that we're going to stand by our ally no matter what. We're not signaling strength that we're going to continue to give them weaponry. We're not projecting strength on any part of this, right? Which is why it's so fucking aggravating to me. Like, saying, for the past month, all these talking points about like, yeah, Trump is like talking shit to our allies. He's projecting strength. He's going in with the strongest thing that he could possibly say against Canada so that he can get trade agreements back that are more favorable to us, right? That's why he's being so aggro to Denmark, because he's being maximalist so they can get something that he wants. Why he's doing it to Panama. But like when it comes to Russia, he's being a meek little bitch and agreeing with all of their talking points. Like, I don't know why this isn't like a big deal to you too.
Well, that's because we've seen what comes of nice, stable policy, nice, stable messaging. We saw it with Biden, where he rationed, restricted, and slow-rolled the aid in little penny packets. I will fight
back on that. It is the Republican Party that pushed back on every single spending bill when it came to giving Ukraine money.
Then why is half of the money Congress authorized for Ukraine still unspent when Biden's ass left office? Explain that one to me.
Can you explain which bill we're talking about?
Yeah, half the money. Biden, let me look it up if you want a link.
Yeah, because there was like 3 or 4 different spending bills that we allocated stuff to him. And I know that at least some of that went through because they have weapons. I've never heard like the specific claim that Biden was withholding anything from the executive branch. It seemed like all the news throughout 2022 to 2024 was the Republicans are done spending all of this money, and then, like some people repeating Russian talking points, and then some people just saying that it's not worth the money that we're spending. So,
yeah, I mean, there's at least one. Like, I mean, this was not like esoteric knowledge. Half of the money authorized by Congress, total, basically, was still unspent when Biden left office, and the accounting for that money was especially egregious because these weapons, most of them were obsolete. We would actually have to pay money to decommission them. In fact, some of the ATA-CMS missiles we sent were technically expired. Solid rocket motors have a shelf life, and we have been able to provide more of them that are actually remanufactured rounds, where they take out the old motor and put in a new one, and the rest of the electronics and the warhead are good to go. And they were quoting the original purchase price in inflation-adjusted dollars.
Yeah,
which is not what the weapons are actually worth because they're obsolete. And like ATA-CMS is being replaced by the precision strike missile as we speak. And accounting like that allows you to say, oh yeah, we sent $11 hojillion in a press release, but it cuts deeply into, if you actually accounted for the actual value of the weapons, you would be able to send more weapons with that amount of money. And they actually admitted this at one point. They said, oh, there's been an accounting error because they wanted to send more and they couldn't because the money had been used up from the first aid package. So they went back and admitted to their own inflation of the values so they could send more. But they've been doing that constantly. The amount of missiles sent and the restrictions on them and announcing the deliveries beforehand so the enemy can disperse their ammo dumps and take cover and camouflage them and otherwise prepare for the hit.
I agree that I wish that we had been able to let them do that. But again, like this was caving to Republican pressure. This was caving to the people that were repeating the Russian.
Talking wasn't.
Yeah, it was directly because everyone was saying that.
I remember the Democrats attaching certain provisions relating to border security that they wanted grandfathered in for 10 years, which would have been electoral suicide for the Republicans. And so you can't put a poison bill on a Ukraine rider and then say,
they also
if you don't give us what we want, then we'll call you the murderers of Ukraine. I don't buy it.
Well, they tried to. I know that there have been like multiple attempts from both parties to do that. I agree that sort of shit is really fucking annoying. The Democrats, I think, did that, and the Republicans also did it with an abortion thing when it came to Ukraine spending. But there were points, and I I mean, we can go through and we can find all the examples of this if you want, but like there was I think at the end of last year or maybe the middle of last year, I can't remember because time moves in such a slow fucking way now. But the Republicans shot down a bill that was sending money to both Ukraine and to Israel because it had Ukraine money in it, right? And it almost led to
Republicans delay HIMARS entry into the theater until almost a year after hostilities began. Do you remember that huge convoy north of Kyiv? A huge convoy north of Kyiv. HIMARS would have eliminated that from the map. It was within range. ATACMS would have done even better. It was not even being talked about by the Biden administration. They weren't even asking for it. Republicans had no chance to vote on it whatsoever. And it didn't show up. When we first sent HIMARS to Ukraine, it was instrumental in expelling the Russians from Kherson, which is the only major prize and major objective, their pre-war objective, that they actually managed to take. We only sent 8 HIMARS and no reloads. 6 missiles per truck, that's 48 rockets. And that was enough to change the course of the war because they immediately destroyed pretty much every single ammo dump within range.
Listen, you're not going to get me defending 100%. Like here's like the, because I want to like shortcut this part of the discussion. I'm not going to defend 100% of Biden's foreign policy, right? I think that his foreign policy was decent, not amazing. It was decent, and we could have done significantly better. My problem right now, right, is what's going forward, right? Because I did want Biden to do more. I did want Biden to, like, you know, go demon mode on the fucking Russians the way that his like statements about it were, right? There were fucking, and we both agree on this, there are people that are repeating, both on the left and the right, fucking Kremlin talking points verbatim, right? The problem that I'm having right now, though, is this war is not over. Ukraine doesn't think that this war is over. Russia doesn't seem like they want peace because I think that their economy will fucking collapse if peace happens. And we're not signaling that we're going to continue to support Ukraine unless, you know, insert crazy demand for Ukraine here. And instead we're signaling to the rest of the fucking world that what Russia says is true. This is coming from the mouth of the most powerful man in the entire fucking world. And I know, like, and to some degree I can agree with this, right? I don't know if this is like more of a conservative thing that you were saying, but like the actions speak louder than words, right? I agree. Actions do speak louder than words, but words have a wholly different meaning when I'm saying them and when you're saying them and when the president of the fucking United States is saying it, right? Every single fucking word that you're saying is the attitude of the United States of America. It is where we're going to be going with our foreign policy, with our domestic policy, what our stances towards our allies is going to be, what we're going to do against our enemies. When you speak, everyone on the fucking planet is listening and everyone has access to that, right? And that's why, like, I agree. Actions speak louder than words, but man, these words are telegraphing some actions that are going to be wholly fucking destructive, not only to, you know, Ukraine, but to our allies and to the position of the United States as the most powerful country in the world. That's like the concern that I have, right? Because
except the first thing Trump did when he got into office is lift all restrictions on U.S. weapons usage. And the Biden admin was actually threatening Ukraine to pull American aid if they used European-donated weapons against targets deep in Russia. Early in the war, there was an Mi-17 helicopter. That's a large multi-purpose helicopter, very good as a gunship or as a transport. And it's the modernized version of the Mi-8 HIP. Some people out there might know that. And that was in Ukraine at the time because it was being refurbished for transfer to the Afghani Air Force before Afghanistan collapsed. Because the Ukrainians actually inherited the best parts of the Soviet military-industrial complex. The Russians actually had their electronics built in Ukraine until 2014 when they seized Crimea and they cut them off. So that aircraft was in Ukraine being refurbished. And initially, the Biden administration refused permission or they weren't going to transfer it to them, along with another Mi-17 that was still stateside. And that came very shortly after the Ukrainians used a couple of Mi-24 Hinds, crossed the border near Volgograd, and hit an oil refinery with rockets. That much of an imposition onto the sanctified soil of a great power was enough, and it was an outcry. I think it was Republicans and Democrats screamed and kicked up enough fuss about that one that the admin relented and sent them. But a single utility helicopter is not a huge strategic weapon, but that's how terrified the Biden administration was, and honestly, the entire American foreign policy establishment, of offending the great and mighty Russians. They insist on treating them like they're still the Soviet Union, when they're a rump state of the Soviet Union. Hold on, Venezuela with snow. What they did to Ukraine has been to use them as a blade of armor to let their people be raped, murdered, and butchered, their soldiers massacred, their entire country leveled, so we could bleed the Russians dry, but without risking, nukes, because the Russians always threaten nukes. These are people who have cowered every time the Russians have rattled a nuclear saber for the last 35 fucking years.
Yeah, but these were
and
Republicans
this is what
too.
It's
we can't blame this
So
directly.
I don't care what Trump does. At this point, Trump could literally try to sell them out, and the Europeans could easily, on their own, pick up the slack. They could easily continue the amount of aid they've been giving and cover the amount of aid we've been sending, because we sent so little, which is one reason Trump has so little
sent
leverage
literally
with
twice as
Zelensky.
many as the rest of everyone else has combined?
It literally cannot be worse. He literally cannot do worse.
I'm sorry. This is like my major problem with like talking about like anything to do with Trump right now, and why I've like kind of disengaged, because I don't have the ability. I don't understand, and I'm trying to understand. Right? I talked about this a little bit on stream. Why I've been taking a backseat to politics is I had a mental map of, like why people believe certain things, or why certain like politicians get away with certain things, or why certain political pundits get away with things that they like really ought not to have, right? Like this is why I got into such virulently like violent wars of words with lefties, right? Because of the seeming lack of principles. But I don't think it's a lack of principles. It's just a complete deviation of principles away from what I kind of operate under. And I thought I had an understanding of like what the principle like core of the Republican Party or the average Republican is, right? But like, man, I just don't understand it, because it feels like when I want to talk about one second.
No problem.
Background, like going, trying to get my attention. But yeah, like, so I have like these mental maps of like why liberals believe certain things and why we think that certain things. It feels like there's no amount of like it doesn't feel like there's anything that Trump could do that would get criticism from people that hate liberals. I feel like the biggest thing is that people hate liberals so fucking much, and it's so cringe to be a liberal, and it's so like liberals are so annoying with everything that they do, and they're weak and feckless, and they don't like fun, and they don't like jokes, and blah 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 blah. That like Donald Trump literally could go out and fucking shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, and no one would change their mind. Like I agree that. And this is why I said earlier, like, I don't want to rehash the past, because I probably have many of the same exact criticisms of the Biden administration as you do when it comes to, like the complete lack of,
Well, like,
give you
if you
enough
want me
money.
to criticize Trump, I mean, I'll tell you how I would have done this.
Well,
Like,
it's not that
I would have done this by
but that's
opening
not-
up with like 30 to 50 JASSM missiles, and I would take out the entire Russian rail logistical network leading up to the Kursk and or Kharkiv fronts.
That's
I
what I
would've
wanted Trump to do.
opened
But
with
let me
that,
finish this thought really quick
you know.
because I'm going to totally fucking lose it. But like, it feels like when we're talking about what Trump could do right now, like, yeah, what you feel like what you would do, what you think would be like the best thing is so far removed from what Trump is doing now. Right? Like, this isn't, you're saying like, we'll fucking take out their fucking rail lines. And to me, like, that sounds based as fuck. A little bit scary for my liberal sensibilities because I don't know what the fallout from that would be, you know? But like, I probably would be less critical of that than anything that's been going on now. But like, again, we're talking about like our leader of the United States. He's repeating like a fucking Russian psyop, and we're making excuses because the last guy didn't give enough money. And so like, even if Trump sells them out now, like, it would still not be as big of a betrayal as the Biden administration giving them stuff, even if at a slow drip. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, and I don't know how to, I don't have the language, I don't think, to express how like mindfucky it is from like outside of the conservative MAGA movement to see people say, like, on one hand, he's going at all of our allies with these strong words of, like, oh, well, he's going in with a strong sense of, what is going to be our position when negotiating, and he's going to get a good deal for the United States. But then when it comes to Ukraine, and he repeats literal, like, foreign adversary talking points against the United States, by the way, like, we're supposed to be like, well, he's just like a little bit of like a crash out dude who's just like a silly little guy who, like, sometimes, he's going to make a mistake, and that's like crazy, but like, that's going to happen. And, like, we can't blame him too much because everything was too fucked from Biden to ever like do anything. Like,
oh, there you go. I don't think you understand how big a deal that mineral deal is going to be. It is going to turn Ukraine into Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is not exactly sharing our values. And yet we've got a very good alliance with them. And we sell them a shit ton of weapons because of their strategic importance as a resource node, right? Ukraine's basically the Middle East of rare earth minerals. And those are crucial to have a source of supply in a friendly country.
Yeah, I don't think that Ukraine
military production depends on them.
Yeah, but
if
like,
we are getting minerals from Ukraine remaining free and on our side is going to be essential to our strategic defense.
I agree, like 1,000,000%. Why do we have to give them such why do we have to give them an initial offer that's like the Treaty of fucking Versailles, and then when they don't take it, fucking spread Russian talking points? It's insane to me.
Who fucking cares? You got to remember.
I care again. Like,
okay, but do you have no faith in Zelensky? I mean, this is a man that stood his fucking ground when battle tanks were rolling into Kyiv.
I have a lot of faith in Zelensky. I don't have enough faith in Zelensky. I think that he can negotiate with Trump, sure, but I also don't have a lot of faith in Zelensky to fight not only the second strongest fucking like military in the world, but also the first like most powerful country in the world.
Are you suggesting that we're going to send the United States military into Ukraine and?
Yeah, I kind of tried to change the way I was saying that. Like, we would be raping them. We would be raping them economically. They are trying to rape them warfarely.
The economic and strategic benefits to having a deal with Ukraine are so big. Ukraine can absolutely drive a good deal here.
Yeah,
and
but like
maybe the Republicans walked in there and they literally did just have like a 7-page agreement that didn't give them any of the assurances. Marco Rubio even talked about that recently. He said, we were all frustrated by this when we walked in there. I think a big part of the problem is there's pre-existing tension between Kyiv and Washington caused by the slow rolling of aid by the Biden admin. So there's a lot. They actually, I've seen speculation, well-founded though, given the sources, they're the more reliable people, that the Ukrainians were successful in the Kursk incursion because they didn't tell America about it. They were pretty sure that their plans had been leaked to the Russians by the Americans the last time they had prepared an offensive action like that. That's how low the trust already is between Kyiv and Washington. And so if anybody could come into an argument like that or a situation like that and presents, as Marco Rubio said, he said, we're saying this is the security guarantee. You are of value to us now. And that means the Russians can't just roll in and take you. We'll fight to defend, our strategic partnership.
Did Trump say that, or did Marco Rubio say that?
Rubio. He was explaining, and we're all angry with Zelensky. I could absolutely see something like that happening because of the pre-existing tension and low ebb of trust between Kyiv and Washington right now.
Do you think that it makes Ukraine trust us
possible.
more or less that Donald Trump is saying that Zelensky is a dictator and that they need to get a new president or a new election because of Trump? Or
no, it didn't exactly help, did it? But
no,
like I said,
obviously not. That's what I'm saying. I think that I just want
even if you believe that, I haven't heard Trump say that we should break up our alliance with Saudi Arabia. We are allied with actual dictatorships. If that's the lens, the geopolitical lens he's viewing this through, it does not rule out a long-term military and economic partnership with Ukraine at all.
Except for the fact that he's talking about we've sent too much money to them already, and so that he's signaling. Do you agree?
Okay, so he wants to pay for it, but the thing is, they can't. And if they're paying for it with minerals like that, now that's a net positive for the American economy, because that would be a lot of dollars coming into our defense.
Yeah, but we should be going in saying
weapons exporter.
We shouldn't be signaling to everyone in the world that Ukraine might not have our help.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if I was in charge, I would not be doing it the way he's doing it or messaging like that. But don't think that.
And if I was Jeffrey Epstein, I wouldn't have fucked the fucking children. But here we are. We're in the situation where he's in charge, and I'm not Jeffrey Epstein, right? When we say what I would rather do is this, that's not what I think anyone's talking about. We're talking about what is being said at the top of the fucking chain. That's what's so again. We have massive disagreements over institutionalism, right? Do we put trust in institutions or do we not, or anything like that? And whether or not there's malicious intent from government actors and shit like that. I don't even think that Trump is a Putin. I don't think that he's a fucking Russian asset or anything. But I think that we do have. Because of Trump, I think that we do have Russian assets or at least useful idiots in government now who are in charge of giving Trump that information about, Russia itself, right? With Tulsi Gabbard. We have Donald Trump now, the greatest fear that I had when it came to Tulsi Gabbard and when it came to the complete up in the air nature of what Trump is going to do when he gets into office, right? Tulsi Gabbard gets put in charge of the national intelligence community, right? She's a fucking Russian asset at worst, and she's a useful idiot at best, right? Almost immediately after she gets in that position, Trump starts repeating the fucking talking points. How long down the chain? At what point are we going to say hey, this is really fucking bad, right? When Trump is doing stuff domestically and things are escalating there and things maybe in the short term, it seems like a bunch of memes or oh, we're going to save a bunch of money because we're cutting programs. How far down the line when if and when things fuck up, do we say, hey, yeah, no, Trump was actually fucking insane here for doing this, right? That's, I think that the only way that I could possibly comprehend it is people hate fucking liberals, and fuck me, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here. Sorry about that. But I just need.
Remember how much Trump wanted Greenland?
Yeah.
And then they were like, wait, shit, he's actually serious. And he really wanted Greenland?
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah. Which is a source of rare earth minerals?
Yeah.
That was one of the big things. When he says he wants Ukrainian minerals, I believe him. Because
I'm sure that he does. I don't doubt that.
I've got more faith in his greed, if you want to call it that, than I do in the foreign policy establishment's long-standing policy of cringing away every single time the Russians rattle the saber.
I agree.
Trump is the kind of guy that will look at the military balance between the United States and Russia, and he will say, you guys literally just had your balls force-fed to you by the Ukrainians, and worse, without much aid from the U.S. That's why I keep saying we didn't send that much. The Ukrainians did it mostly on their own. We filled crucial gaps. but it was mostly on their own. And that, in turn, is a reason we don't actually have that much leverage with the Ukrainians. I've heard people claiming that Trump is going to make Ukraine give the Russians their initial demands early in the war, where they wanted Ukraine to literally give up all their weapons. And I'm like, how the fuck is he going to do that, guys? Say, like, if you don't give up all your weapons, I will stop sending you weapons. Like, he literally does not have that power. He still has to bring the Ukrainians something that they will actually sign. I mean,
or he can completely abdicate his position. He can absolutely abdicate his position as like the leader of the free world and just let the dominoes fall where they may, or the cards fall where they may.
And the funny thing is that'll work because Russia is weak enough. Europe could carry this alone. And they have to increase their military spending anyway, eventually, like we've been pointing out, because we have to fight China. And if we lose to China, we lose our position as world hegemon, and then things really go to shit.
Well,
but
here's my question.
Actually can do it alone. And that's how crazy, I'm just saying, that's how weak Russia's hand is right now.
It's possible, but they also have to ramp up their production, and we already have production that they don't have access to, yes?
Yeah, and Trump has already said that he will sell Europe weapons if they want to donate them to Ukraine. That tap is not closed off.
Wait, hold on. Is Elon right now blackmailing Zelensky by saying that he's going to withdraw Starlink by not accepting the Trump deal?
What's the source again?
Sorry, someone just said that in chat. I'll look that up.
Yeah, I've seen them saying that on Twitter, and every time I've checked on it, the source is once again officials familiar with the matter. Remember, I have also seen on Twitter rumors of Trump wanted to make sure that the Americans have been floating this in negotiations that Ukraine, if Russia attacks them again, Ukraine will automatically be entered into NATO, which in other words is extending Ukraine Article 5 protection, but without the right to station U.S. troops in the country, which would assuage the Russians. Because see, we're not on your border, we're not closing in, but at the same time,
but you know that was a bullshit argument in the first place, because they already have U.S. troops on their border. That was never actually a real
it's always
reason.
Been bullshit, but it's a feel good concession to the Russians, while it gives Ukraine the only thing about NATO that actually matters to them. That is a crazy thing. I mean, I cannot see the Russians ever agreeing to that. But apparently, see, that's also out there in the rumors. The administration is floating that. That's why I'm saying it is a good idea to disengage from the politics right now, because nobody knows shit. Nobody knows jack shit. And everybody is huffing paint. I remember, if you were paying attention in 2017, this all went in the opposite direction, where everyone is saying Trump was a psychotic madman who was going to nuke, get everybody killed in a thermonuclear war with Trex notes here, North Korea. And if I don't think you want to hear me go into all the the nitty gritty of the military details, but the idea that the most powerful nuclear triad on Earth is going to lose a fight against a bunch of motherfuckers whose rockets, as we've seen in Ukraine, have a hard time landing within a half mile of their target.
No, I agree. Yeah.
No, and this is all because Trump tweeted, whatever, little rocket man, I got a button on my desk too, and mine works.
Yeah, no, I don't care about statements like that.
Want to Russia right now, but at the time they were all screaming he was going to get us all killed, and then when he went and switched tracks and actually went and talked to Kim Jong-un in negotiations, then the narrative changed to a bumbling fool who will be taken by a ride by the canny North Korean dictator, and we will stumble into World War III. And it's like,
see, there's parts of that I mildly agree with. I think that because nothing really came of those discussions and he plays it up so much like he did something, that's the only thing that I would criticize there. Do I care if a president talks to the president of North Korea? No. There were a couple of symbolic things that were kind of ultra cringe. But that doesn't matter as much to me. But I don't think that we were going to go to World War III over fucking North Korea. But okay, I don't think
makes you, and this is an interesting thing, that makes you a lot more level-headed than a lot of actual policy think tank guys. The kind of guys that make their career working for and in the American, we call it the foreign policy establishment. Look up The Blob. That it's kind of like this revolving door between government advisors and private think tanks and back again. And what they write actually does go a long way towards influencing the policy that the State Department and the Department of Defense implement. And this guy wrote a book, Lewis, I can't remember his first name. He wrote a book called the 2020 Commission Report, which is all fan fiction about how Donald Trump will get us into a nuclear war with North Koreans. you are more sane and sober than some of the people that get to determine American policy or have for the decades. Trump is basically the first serious break we have had from that leadership class's control of the country. And so that's why his approach is different than anything that came before it.
Yeah, but
you have to remember that our current security situation was created by those people. But that's my point. It's really, really, really hard to see how it could be any worse. Because we got plenty of nice, soothing words from the past people, and they walked us into everything we've got today. Was China on the rise? Our military depleted after 2 open-ended foreign wars that accomplished nothing? Ukraine being invaded like this? Everything. That is the result of the prior policy. And at this point, with Ukrainian cities in ruins, it's really hard to see how Trump can fuck up when neither side can advance. They're both at a stalemate. The Russians are so depleted, the Europeans could pick up the slack. And now Trump is trying to lean into making them a strategic partner that would be essential for our long-term security and defense industrial production. That's a different take. And his take, if he just views Ukraine as another corrupt state that he doesn't care about with a crappy dictator in charge and he wants to get something out of the deal, that is still a stronger commitment to Ukraine than the empty promises of the Obama administration, including Obama's third term, Biden, who let them take Crimea and didn't make a squeak about it.
I think, I don't know. It to me, I feel like having strong words and at least moderate actions to give like weapons to Ukraine is better than like the cessation of all U.S. involvement in that conflict. This, I don't think we're ever going to agree on this because the presidency, like having a responsibility with words, the presidency having responsibility with, like being the shepherd of what the United States is going to do is just like too important to me. I agree. Like you have no idea how frustrating it is to hear Trump talk, especially as a guy who used to do debate in high school. I won a couple pretty big awards. The guy's
actually.
a fucking retard. Like the guy is not fucking intelligent. I've never he might have good business sense, but like in terms of intelligence, he ain't a fucking philosopher king, right? But
exactly, and it's
and the way people talk about him as like infallible and like all roads lead to Rome, in that like everything that he's doing is 4D chess, and it's just like, oh, well, actually, this is like actually good that he's doing this. Like, there's like no fail state, which is why like we're not going to come to any like point of agreement on this. But like,
you be surprised, man. Like,
I just need to
people
know.
have been saying that, it's 4D chess. Like, guys, what if it's just a 1D spurg out? He does that sometimes. But
he's not spurging in the way that I want him to. He's not spurging in a way that makes America look fucking base. He's spurging in a way that makes us look like we're spreading our ass cheeks for Putin. That's my problem.
You think I don't know that?
That's why I had the call in the first place. I don't want us to look like we're standing in front of the fucking like CNN fucking world news fucking on every screen in the entire world with Trump's ass spread open for Putin to walk in and just like gently lay his cock inside. That's what it feels like when we see him repeating these talking points. It feels like I'm crazy. And like, but like, this is what I want to know. Like, because
I prefer that he talks the right talk or does the right thing.
I want both, right? And I didn't get both from Biden. I got halfway.
I also like a blowjob from a beach babe, but I'm not getting that. Unfortunately, we have to choose, and I
but if I had the choice between
on foreheads.
But he's not doing that. He's saying that he's going to take away the funding.
It's been 1 month. We're still negotiating with the Russians. Give it time.
But okay, let's say that Trump says we're not sending any more. Let's say that Trump does this. Let's say Trump does negotiations without Ukraine at the table, like he did in Saudi Arabia, right? Let's say that he goes to Saudi Arabia again and they hash something out. Let's say that this involves like the U.S. committing to having Ukraine have an immediate election, that this involves Ukraine having to be raped by the United States economically, like the original plan. Let's say that this involves sending no more weapons to Ukraine whatsoever. And, saying that let's say that Trump, no, let's leave it there, because I don't think that even under Trump that we would try and fight against Europe sending weapons over there. But fuck, who fucking knows? The guy has no fucking consistency. Let's say that Trump completely sells out Ukraine, right? And let's say that because of the lack of material, right? And you're saying that this won't happen, but let's say that the lack of material coming from the United States and the lack of support from the United States causes Europe to falter, and they don't send weapons to Ukraine. And then Russia rolls over Ukraine. Does that change your opinion on Trump at all? Or is that just more feckless Biden shit?
That literally can't happen because Ukraine wouldn't sign the deal.
Well,
see what I'm saying?
Well,
they literally said, go fuck
under
yourself.
This, under this, they would say, go fuck yourself, but we would stop sending them weapons, right? Because we're washing our hands of it.
Yeah, of course it would change my opinion on Trump. He would make our security situation much worse. That's kind of my point. That's the lengths he'd have to go to. He would actively have to work to sabotage Ukrainian chances right now.
But what I'm saying is, outside of without even saying Europe, you need to stop sending weapons. Let's say that Europe, hey, we don't have the productive capacity and we'll send as much as we can, and Ukraine still gets rolled over.
Oh, if we stop selling U.S. weapons to them, they go to South Korea. They're a major weapons exporter.
No. I'm saying I'm saying that they everyone else is still trying to support them, but they get rolled over because of the lack of U.S. support.
No, Europe could replace our support that we've been providing on their own unilaterally. They got the money.
I'm asking a hypothetical here. I'm asking a hypothetical. Let's say that in the event that the United States, Trump is like, hey, you know what? Fuck this guy. Fuck Ukraine. That guy's a dictator. Putin was right. They were always part of Russia. I don't care. I don't like China. Fuck China. Fuck Ukraine. Washing my hands of it, right? And then everyone else tries to help, but Ukraine still gets rolled over. Does that change your opinion on Trump?
No shit.
Okay, I just need to know.
Of course it does, but what I'm saying is, even if that happens, it's not a guarantee Ukraine gets rolled over. And that's how fucked Russia is right now. That is how badly fucked they are. And it's just hard to see Trump with a hand like that. Everything he's offered them so far is, he's got the opinion of don't insult someone you're going to try to talk to. And at that point, that means giving Putin attaboys, ass pats. That's it. And if they are arguing to keep every single inch of land they're currently occupying, that means they're going to have to agree to Ukraine occupying part of Russia. And that's kind of the situation right now. And it's just, Trump would literally have to go full goose-stepping Nazi to fuck this up. And it's like, when he's already wanting to get his hands on Ukrainian minerals, and betraying Ukraine to that level would guarantee he doesn't get the minerals. And we've already seen him going after...
what if Trump doesn't care as much about the minerals as you think he does? What if the reason that he's trying to get the minerals...
He picked a fight with one of our own NATO allies over Greenland. I think he wants them.
He picked a fight with Canada for no fucking reason. I don't think that Trump literally gives a fuck about anything. I think his
there's a
major
reason
thing...
for it with Canada. I've actually heard from Canadians, friends of mine who are in the military, that apparently it's an open secret Canada's political class has been infiltrated by the CCP to some degree. There's some tensions there. But more importantly, thinking of Trump, Trump wants to be a big historic man, right?
Yeah, and
he wants
failing.
To do huge.
What he's doing is he's destroying my fucking country.
He wants to do in Alaska. He wants to
destroying my country in the process. Every single institution he wants to fucking pull down. It is directly affecting like several aspects of my life, like very, very directly. I might not be able to finish my degree if he abolishes the Department of Education. Like, that's just my like future down the fucking tank when it comes to like the political, or not even political aspirations, because I don't think I'd run for office. Just like career options that I have are like fucking like massively hindered. Everything to do with like the reason why I moved to the East Coast is now like completely up in the air, like thousands of dollars spent and fucking like, you know, hundreds of hours wasted for like memes about what's going on with Social Security, people pretending that like people who are 160 years old on Social Security are getting benefit payouts when we already have this information. It's all public information, and they're just spinning it in a way that retards think that it's billions of dollars of fraud every year. Like we're seeing the like actual hostile takeover of not the executive branch of the government, but like, well, actually, yes, the hostile takeover of the executive branch to not consolidate power in the executive branch, to consolidate power around the president specifically, because he's not giving power to his executive branch departments. He's telling them to be immediately subservient specifically to him. And I'm like hyper worried about every single fucking thing that this guy says. And then like, again, I'm going to harp on it super hard. Like the fact that he then starts fucking doing the Russian talking points. I don't think that this guy fucking cares about the same things that I care about. And the things I care about have very much to do with America's security, America's like economic and military like dominance at the like head of the fucking world for the foreseeable future, at least as long as I'm alive. Okay, like everything that he's doing is not what someone who wants to fix something does. It's something that someone that wants to destroy something does. And like
now living in Southeast Michigan my whole life, watching the auto industry crater, as someone that got a journalism degree, God forbid, and ended up having to go into the trades and scraping for a living in the trades when all I could hear on both sides of my work site was Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And that was explained to me like, if you don't like getting paid $15 an hour, then go fuck off. I can go down to Home Depot and get 6 Mexicans to replace you in 2 minutes. As a guy who's now into welding and has talked to people that lost their jobs, lost their future financial security when this Keystone XL pipeline was canceled, as a guy who belongs to the Rust Belt, who has seen their fortunes crater and their way of life they were once used to vanish, I don't really fucking care, Margaret. We don't trust your politicians or, you know, that entire group that much either.
But that's not the. Well, I'm not talking about specifically Trump. Okay, what I'm talking about is what I. It's not that I like specifically just hate Trump because he's Trump and he's big bad orange man. It's that like there are things about this country that I like highly fucking respect. Right? I love our Constitution. I bought a fucking copy of it not 2 months ago. When I saw the Liberty Bell, because I was in the gift shop, you know, fuck it. But like, I read it, and it's like a wonderfully crafted document. It has separation of powers. It has all of these things, liberal values, capital L liberal values, like I hold on to, right? And when I hear people say like, I don't care, Margaret, like, yeah, we're going to fucking destroy this country and like set it up in a different way because like things are hard in this part of the country. Like I super empathize with that. I was born in fucking rural Arkansas, and I have like every time I visit family over there, it is like poor, destitute, fucking no teeth having fucking fools. All right. Like that's the way it is. I totally understand it. I totally get it. I've lived in amongst it. Right. But,
oh, I see. You're worried about the anti-liberals on the right.
I'm worried about No, I hate the anti-liberals on the right and the left. I fucking hate all of them.
I know. But I know what you're talking about. You're talking about what the woke right or the alt-right or whatnot. Oh, yeah. I know all about the guys, and I hate them just as much as I hate any damn communist.
Yeah, but they're the ones that are in charge.
They're collectivists.
They're the ones that are in charge.
Remember, these people scare the hoes. That's the best way I can put it. They scare the shit out of normies. How far do you think they're going to be able to get away with shit? Because considering who voted for them was the normies, and quite a bit of the center is what gave Trump his last election.
They're trying to get away with it as much as possible. Right now, that's the entire... Well, hold on. Let me ask you this.
They turn around the economy. And, you know, a lot of what the normies voted against was violations of our constitutional norms, the abandonment of equality before the law, all the shit that the extremists on the left are doing. All the shit the anti-liberals and the left are doing. People actually like the liberal order in America. The normies like it.
Then why are they fine with Trump consolidating all of the power around himself, with Trump like going around and saying like, yeah, I'm going to be king for or a dictator for a day, and then like all of the signaling about like, well, he who loves his country or acts in service of his country can commit no fucking crimes, when everyone is saying like, do not question what the law is, you listen to what Trump and his administration says, and we are the final word on the law, which is directly in contradiction to what the Constitution says.
Because we've lived under 50 or so years
we've lived
of the left actually persecuting us.
No, because we've lived under 270 years of this paradigm where the Justice Department, or I'm sorry, not the Justice Department, the judicial branch of our government is the one that interprets the laws. Since what was it, Madison versus Madison versus, someone in chat will remind me, Marbury versus Madison. That's who it was. Since that Supreme Court decision, we've lived under this paradigm where the Justice Department is in charge of interpreting our laws. Now Trump is coming in and saying, like, again, I'm fine with having like a Republican go into office and say, hey, we need to do some shit that's different, like rural America and, you know, industrial base, blah, 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 blah. That's fucking fine with me. This is not the action of someone that wants to fix that shit. This is these are the actions of like a party that fucking hates what we have as a country and want to completely redefine what we mean as a country. And that's what I love about the country.
Washington, D.C. votes 95% Democrat. You've lived in a world designed and structured by the left for so long. This is like a fish that doesn't notice it's in water. We sure as hell noticed. We noticed when the banking system started persecuting, the payment processors started persecuting conservative sites, and that was because of pressure from federal regulators. The slightest sideways look from the federal bank regulators is enough to make those banks panic and deplatform people, defund people. We noticed, and we have noticed for a long time.
Hold on, that claim I heard, I heard that it was like massively like misrepresented the way that they presented that shit. But I don't know, because I've not read every single fucking crazy thing that's going on right now. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but like the idea.
This is Obama era. This is the same time that there was a fighting over the IRS being prioritizing investigations into certain groups and not others, things like that.
Could it not be possible that conservative extremists were more dangerous than leftist extremists for the past like 20 years?
I mean, if that's the way we're going with it, then we're going towards civil war.
Well, no,
honestly,
no.
if
What did I say?
Conversations are going that way.
Wait, what did I say?
I'm not
that could
saying
possibly
that you have anything to do with it, or that either of us can stop.
No, but like it's just like the way that it is right now. It's just the way that it is right now. In the past, there have been more like crazy leftists that were the more dangerous ones. But like right now, the more crazy ones are the conservative ones who are like armed and organized and like willing to do shit for, you know, whatever cause that they want to do. Right? Like we've seen these groups go out and fucking march in Sieg Heil or run fucking people over at the Charlottesville thing. Like we've seen them organize. Like these are like open groups that are like highly organized. The lefties, like half of them, if they owned a gun, they would fucking use it on themselves. Like the fact that our government is more concerned about right-wing extremism than left-wing extremism doesn't really surprise me, just because like the left is just not as organized as the right is. Like as long as I've paid attention to politics, and that's been most of my life.
On the balance, I think the constant obsession over domestic terrorism is mostly bullshit. Outside of maybe Antifa in the Pacific Northwest, who are unusually organized and
what about all the
have been
mass
able to
shootings
act to
from
unusual
people?
Degrees? Like with the right-wingers one, it's almost always
a mass shooting.
It's one dude, pretty much. I mean, even like the militia thing that they were on about for years. There was the Oklahoma City bombing, and that was about it. Like that last group that they arrested in Michigan, What a bunch of clowns. I mean, it almost always boils down to a bunch of rednecks talking shit in a bar, and then like three of them turn out to be FBI plants. And this is mostly because FBI agents are paid
you can downplay them as yokels with no fucking teeth in the backwoods of fucking, you know, Louisiana or some shit. But like these are guys that have fucking weapons. Meanwhile, like Antifa, like, listen, I'm a fucking like loser queer little like liberal boy, all right? I know a lot of fucking queer people. I know a lot of people who are part of like Antifa, right? Like actually like going to the fucking meetings. These people are not fucking warriors. These people are not like starting a revolution. They're talking about fucking Kropotkin. Like,
what do you think the militia guys are? Like, they're no lightweights when it comes to the waistline, trust me. I mean, they're not very smart either.
Yeah, the ones on the right are probably fucking like barely literate dudes, but they have guns, and then the other side are like highly literate fucking people who are too scared to get their hands dirty. Like, who am I going to be more scared of? Probably the retards with guns. And I think that like the government saying like, yeah, right.
Antifa's got guns. They got plenty of guns. Like at least one of them actually was trying to draw down on a cop at a school and got shot.
Yeah, good. He should have got shot. But who is more armed?
They also remember. They also carefully orchestrate their use of arms to reduce. If you start shooting at cops, now.
Wait, hold on. Who do you think is more armed? Who do you think is more armed? The extreme left or the extreme right?
Probably the extreme left, because they got better organization. Or at least Antifa in the Pacific Northwest.
Crazy. They are
Pacific Northwest is they're. I mean, they sieged a fucking federal courthouse for 2 months. I have never seen Republicans manage that.
No, they just fucking stormed the Capitol.
Molotov cocktails. They had lasers they were trying to blind the cops with. Yeah, and they did find some weapons hidden in the bushes. Thing is, if you go loud with bullets, then the cops get to shoot back, and the cops tend to have a lot of guns, at least locally, you know, if you're shooting at SWAT.
I'm sorry, even the conservatives in my chat right now are saying this is crazy to say that the conservative, that like right-wing like militias and lone wolves, like everyone makes jokes about like, well, you guys wouldn't like a civil war because we all know who has the guns. It's fucking conservatives. Every conservative I know owns a fucking gun. Not a single liberal, actually one liberal I know owns a fucking gun. Like it's a fucking...
You know liberals, you don't know crazy fucking
I know
anarcho-communists, basically.
No, I know communists, but they don't own guns because they would kill themselves if they did.
Guns aren't hard to get, and you can 3D print the goddamn things now. It's if they want to arm themselves, it don't take long and it don't take much difficulty.
Yeah, but who is armed now and is like ready to use violence? And it's been proven they're ready to use violence.
I mean, show me the last time right-wing terrorists were able to lay siege to a federal courthouse for like 2 to 3 months.
January 6th. Oh, 2 to 3 months? Sorry, they accomplished it in like 3 hours in January 6th, so I guess I can't fucking use that example. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, nobody would disagree with the fact that conservatives, like, on average have more guns. And then, like, the conservative, like extremists are going to be, like, stockpiling that shit and doing fucking, like, gun drills and shit like LARPers. Like, I don't know. I don't know how, like, we live in a different... Like,
never heard of Redneck Revolution, or there's several different Antifa gun groups like that.
Yeah, I know of them, but they're like fucking tiny. But like, like gun culture in the United States is right wing. Do you disagree with that?
So what?
So I would say, like, on average, my assumption would be, and I would like, and I mean, like, I can see if anyone in chat can like link something, because I don't want to like spend time looking this up right now, but like just like the idea that any demographic of lefties are going to be more armed than the like similar cohort of conservatives. They like, is just insane to me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter much when who was that guy during the BLM riots? A black guy jumped on his father and tried to strangle him, and he pulls him off his father. Then the guy gets on him and starts strangling him, and he draws his pistol and he shoots him. The law found against him. He lost his bar because he lost his rental the guy renting the place to him canceled his, didn't want anything to do with him, vilified in the media. They destroyed his life, and he eventually ended up killing himself. There were a couple other shooting incidents during that where people were shot by people blocking the road and doing roadblocks, and they walked. A lot of Republicans have been in similar situations, and they did not. Who controls the local court system? And I do mean local. That matters for a lot. And so if you want to, the use of political violence also depends heavily on who controls the local government. I mean, there's a reason you see stuff like Antifa acting in the Pacific Northwest, but not elsewhere. I mean, that is a geographically regional phenomena. I remember Deus Ex, the original game, where the NSF forces are based in the Pacific Northwest, but they were depicted as, like more right-wing at the time. There's been that, that undercurrent in that part of the country for a while. These things are, I wouldn't boil them down so simply to, it's just this side or it's just that side, or this side's got guns or that side got guns. I mean, it wasn't a gun that did Oklahoma City. It was a fertilizer bomb.
Right, but we were just talking about
really much more about these factors do matter a lot.
Well, yeah, but the original point of I don't disagree that a bomb does more than a gun, but the original point was why the government might be focusing more on right-wing terrorist groups than left-wing. And that's because like in chat, someone just brought up Statista, 48% of Republicans reported that they owned at least one gun, and 66% said that they lived in a household with a gun. By comparison, only 20% of Democrats owned at least one gun, and 31% lived in a gun household. Literally 50% of Democrats compared to Republicans. There's literally half as many gun owners in the Democratic Party than there are in the Republican Party.
And that instantly makes any Republican with a gun crazy more dangerous?
Now, hold on. I didn't say that.
See, I know you were. I'm just saying. But I'm just saying.
We're just talking about
the fertilizer bomb that blew half of Oklahoma, and the pressure cooker bombs at the Boston Marathon. When it comes to what really makes the people in government sweat, it ain't who's got the rifles. It's really easy.
I'm pretty
to make
sure
explosives.
that after January 6th, it was probably making a lot of people in government sweat, who had the fucking rifles, right?
Yeah, but I kind of like my government sweating about me. You know what I mean? I don't want it the other way around.
I like them being subservient to the Constitution, which has the Second Amendment in it. That's what I like. I don't want there to be fucking roving bands of fucking illiberal people in my fucking country who are voting for an illiberal guy who is selling out to a fucking illiberal fucking country that is a hostile nation to us. But we're going to fucking loop on this all fucking day long.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we're circling the base problem here of there being no common ground anymore, no common view, no common anything. And this is what's ripping the country apart right now.
Yeah, but
we're afraid of each other. We're scared of each other. We don't even agree in the same realities. And you know what the bitch of it is? I think a lot of the time we're both right. This is a massive continent-spanning nation of 350 million people. A lot of our problems stem from national solutions to local problems. It's famous, the Stoneman Douglas shooting happened because the crazy kid was let out from consequences legally time and time again under an Obama-era program that was supposed to end the school-to-prison pipeline. Bitch of it is, in certain states like Louisiana, there was a school-to-prison pipeline. It was an actual problem. There's good documentation on it. But it was applied nationally for a local problem.
But
federalism
I don't think that
and
you
the
would
breakdown of it has been a big part of the problem here.
But I feel like the responses that I would give for what the authorities would need to do there would be anathema to you. It would involve putting him on a no-gun list, saying, "Hey, we have been getting reports of you doing crazy things, and people are scared you're going to shoot up the school. We have evidence that you're going through some crazy stuff, and you've been contacted by the police before. We're going to take away your guns until mental stability can be proven." And every single conservative.
That's a good point because it ties back into the red flag law problem. Mm-hmm. In theory, that is a perfect conservative solution. Instead of punishing everybody, it's targeted, right?
I've been called a communist that actually deals with the problem people. America for saying that.
Yeah, but The reason Republicans don't go for it is because the trust in the institutions no longer exists. They do not trust the institutions will not be weaponized against them. In short, they just don't trust their government.
Yeah,
And
which is
that's
fucking
where a lot
bad.
of this is coming
This
from.
is something that I'm going to give you homework, and then I want to have a follow-up conversation. I have soul searched for probably, like, on average, probably 10 hours per week, just fucking sitting and thinking, trying to fucking understand conservatives and, like, why everything is out to get them, because I don't see it that way, right? And I'm not even like the leftiest lefty, and I'm not even the most democratic Democrat. All right. I'm pretty heavily Democrat right now because I see them as like the only liberal party, like capital L liberal party in the country. But like, there are things I disagree with the Democrats on, like pretty heavily. I don't get the fucking victim complex from the conservatives. Like, please save me. I want to be fucking radicalized into one of the fucking camps because I am tired of fucking sitting in the middle and seeing fucking crazy people on either side of me. I need you. You are my savior. And if you don't save me, then no one will save me. My fate is in your hands specifically. All right.
All right. But I'll predict right now what a big part of it is. Depends on how good your local government is. If you live in like New Hampshire and you're constantly getting involved, you're one of those old crazy libertarians, you're also in a state small enough and the population small enough, you can actually influence local government. I know some guys who've done it, right? Mm-hmm. You've got more control of the process, you trust your government more. If you live in a city that's been mismanaged for decades, you're going to have very different opinions on how good it is to pay taxes. And I think, like I said, again, national solutions for local problems. And I've seen conservative versions of this. One of the biggest problems you'll get in conservative communities is the good old boys problem in small towns. You can absolutely get town councils that are, they all eat together on weekends, the sheriff and the town judge, and they can be corrupt as hell. Oh, it's happened. I've heard some horror stories from people.
Yeah,
so it's not like
it, yeah.
it doesn't happen. It's just, it leans one way or the other depending on where you are.
Okay, so there
are reasons for this.
Okay, that's your homework, and we can reconvene next Saturday if you're available.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, man. All right, I'll catch you later. All right.
Yep, later, man.
All right, bye. I'm lost at sea, guys. I don't understand them. I don't understand conservatives. Like, even when like it's a friendly conversation, I don't hate that guy. Like, I want to hate him, but I can't hate him because I think that like, well, up to the like Ukraine stuff, I would say on par, he's probably like more liberal, but I guess he is liberal. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know where the fuck he is. I don't know where the fuck I am. I don't understand fucking anybody. I've lost the ability to understand people. I thought that I had I thought I was enough of an empath to understand why people thought the things that they think, but like just I can't. I don't understand it anymore. There's too much contradiction. There's no consistency, and this goes for people on the left and the right. I mean, fuck, we're about to watch Destiny for a couple of minutes before I got to end stream. But like, people are like saying that Destiny is exonerated, and I'm seeing a lot of things that are saying that he's not exonerated. If I watch this, I'm going to probably get a pretty bad taste in my mouth for one group or the other who are saying that he's totally exonerated. And if he like has like a really bad response, then I'm probably going to look at them really fucking negatively because like, holy shit, it seems pretty cut and dry to me most of the time when it comes to the Destiny stuff, who's sweeping and who's not, and what's a reasonable take and what's an unreasonable take, right? It's kind of like the fucking Elon Musk see Heil. Like, there are reasonable takes and there are unreasonable takes, but I don't think a reasonable take is, well, the dude is just autistic and he didn't know what he was doing, right? Or it doesn't even look like a fucking a fucking Sieg Heil. It doesn't even look like that. Like, if you think that what Elon did doesn't look like a fucking Sieg Heil, you're lost and you should be taken out behind the shed, okay, and re-educated. All right, because I would never advocate for any harm to come to a person. But like, it looked like a fucking Sieg Heil. Do you see Steve Bannon? Yeah, and now they're like fucking doing it because they know that they can get away with it because their fucking base won't fucking call it out, right? There's just like there's no shared reality. I've tried for the past 5 years, and at some points I think I had it for a little bit, but then people had to recalibrate, and I think this is it. All right. And this is where I'm at with it. I think that people have two underlying feelings. One, they fucking hate liberals. They hate Democrats. They hate liberals. They hate anyone that is that they see as not conservative, right? Number two, they will defend Trump no matter what. Even if he were to agree with something that a liberal agreed with, it would be because that just happens to be a good thing that the Democrats believe in. But Donald Trump, he's like a maverick, and he's the only one that can be fucking trusted on literally anything. Even when he's spreading Russian propaganda, even when he's like provably fucking lying about literally everything to do with Doge right now, even when it's provably fucking false about like the fucking cats and the dogs being eaten in fucking Ohio, when there's like provable lies, they adjust their worldview to align more with him. That's what it looks like to me. And I've tried to see it from their perspective so fucking hard. I truly have, but I can't fucking do it anymore, guys. I can't fucking do it. Are you saying Wick needs to be taken out? Yes, immediately. Feel free to link it in the, what is it? It's the content, or no, let's do it in the plug. One second. Would imagine attribute motivation than hear actual conversations? No, because I have to fucking mind read, okay? I have to mind read, J-Mac, because the words that come out of people's mouths are contradictory. They directly contradict each other. Not like, oh, I don't think that you could possibly think that while thinking this. No, the sentence structure are directly contradictory. And hate doesn't even figure into it. I'm sorry, it's true. Kyiv independent. I'm sorry. You don't have to mind read. You think they're contradictory because you feel compelled to find contradiction or hypocrisy? No, it's because when someone says A plus B equals C, and then they also say A plus C equals B, those things contradict each other because logically A plus C cannot equal B, A or C minus A would equal B, but that's not what they said. They said A plus B equals C and A plus C equals B. These things contradict each other because they are not true. Like one has to be true and the other one has to be not true. That's what I'm talking about. Directly contradicting each other. No, I'm not imagining. I'm saying the sentence structure, which is why I ask clarifying questions constantly when I talk to people. Is this what you mean when you say that? Or this is what I'm hearing when you say that. Can you explain more or something like that? Probably shouldn't use math for it. I wasn't trying to use like math specifically. I was using like baseline logical A plus B equals C things, but hi. Anyways, we should watch the Destiny thing now. How's everybody in chat doing? Like, comment, and subscribe, etc., etc., etc. I don't think that Israel was like a major issue in the reasons why people voted Corey. Ad blocking the Kyiv newspaper. Well, I didn't even know I was opening up the Kyiv newspaper. Copium. I think that it had to do more with the economy and people fucking hating liberals. I think that they just hate liberals. I really do. That is the only consistent through line. unfortunately. Okay, where did I put Destiny? All right. When you ask this question, but when the other person says, no, I do not mean that, the typical reply is, yeah, but that's not what I say, J-Mac. Have I been? Not great. Although, like, in my personal life, things have been, like, looking up. I got a really good job that I'm starting on, like, next month. So, like, that's nice. But, like, again, I really care about the topics that I'm talking about on stream, and I feel like my country is fucking being raped right now. And I feel like there are people in my chat that will defend the raping of my country directly in front of me. Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about the job. It's going to be paying me literally double what the most I've ever been paid up to this point, so pretty excited. And it'll give me more time to stream. Wait. Sorry, deck of cardboard. I didn't even read what you said. What if B and C are both 0? Then that's not a contradiction. I'm sorry if my off the cuff explanation of trying to explain what a contradiction is wasn't good for you, deck of cardboards. What do you fucking want from me? I'm a human. All right? I'm a fucking human. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited about the job too. Even though like it's not the career path that I want, like really going forward long term. If everything goes as bad as I think it possibly could under Trump right now, like with how he's trying to destroy stuff, it might be my only option. So like, again, me and my girlfriend, we upended our entire lives to move to DC because we wanted to, do something for our country. We both wanted to, but at the end of the day, it might not happen now. All of the people that we left behind, all of the jobs and, family that we left behind in order to move across the country because we had a calling, it was for fucking nothing. Thousands of dollars to move, nothing. Means nothing. Okay, we got a Asman left OTK because of political content. He officially left OTK. Political content was the reason behind the leave. I'm not involved with OTK at all. Haven't been for a while. Oh, good. Fuck them. What's OTK? One True King. It's like a streamer group.
Purpose.
All right, guys. You ready?
Why write this?
All right. Quick intro for people that aren't in the know. Okay? Quick intro for people that aren't in the know. Destiny is being accused of something that is really bad. I have, I think, 1 or 2 videos, maybe 3, already on the channel. If you guys want to check those out, where I talk about the initial, blow up of everything on January 20th, where he was accused of leaking non-consensual recordings of people. Well, the videos were made consensually, some of them. But they were leaked non-consensually, meaning, essentially, for lack of a better term, revenge porn, even though it was more to do with being a gooner than it did with harming someone. So there's that. We've roundly criticized and condemned the fuck out of Destiny on this channel because if you build your entire reputation in your entire career based off of being truthful and, being, the guy that understands consent and the guy that treats everyone in his like sexual life in a professional and caring way, to then, be shown to be sending videos of people that he's been sexual with to people without them knowing that. It's really bad. Add into that the fact that there are allegations of him recording people against their will. These things look really bad. Did you reach out to Destiny before releasing the videos? No, because I've fucking messaged the guy like 4 times with no response. Okay. I'm pretty sure he's read them, given some things, but I'm not sure, and he hasn't responded to me, so I'm not going to fucking message someone who doesn't fucking respond. That's a joke. I know, but I'm just going to say, like, full disclosure, yeah, I have messaged Destiny, and he hasn't responded, so I didn't message him about this. Fuck it. Should I stop sending our sex tips around? Fuck. Parallax. Bro, what the fuck? Parallax, you need to DM me right fucking now. Jesus Christ. Someone ban Parallax for me. But no. So yeah, we've criticized Destiny, but Destiny has a response, and I'm not sure if we definitely won't be able to watch all of it today. But we're going to watch as much as we can, and we will see what he says. How's it going, Remy?
On January 20th, 2025, Pixie created a Substack post,
speed him up a little bit,
which you can see here.
Just clearly you're a sweeper because I haven't heard you calling him a rapist. I saw a clip of him getting like upset at people calling him a rapist. I don't think the people should call him a rapist. There are other people, like how about this? I attempted to watch JSTLK last night. Okay. I tried to. I listened for an hour just so that I could hear someone read out whatever logs were, being posted from DGG chat. I just wanted to hear it. Okay. Motherfucker, I listened for like 2 hours. They read 3 of the fucking logs and they had an entire album of them. All right. They read 3 DMs, or maybe not even DMs. Maybe they were publicly posted. Unlistenable. Okay. But it's okay to call it revenge porn when it's not revenge. I'm just because I'm trying to get through an intro and I just want to get into it because I don't have very much time. But it wasn't revenge porn. It was like, again, like fucking disgusting coomerism. And if you want my full take on everything, if Dan is as good of a friend as he's making himself out to be, Dan should break his door down, break Destiny's door down, fucking handcuff him, force him into a straitjacket, and put him in fucking, and institutionalize him for sex addiction. Because I don't think that Destiny has the capability of accepting that he's probably a sex addict. All right. I think that Destiny's responses up to this point have been like pretty inadequate. But I haven't seen this one yet. So we'll have to see if this one changes my mind on anything. Because again, I've only seen what other people have said about it, but I haven't seen any of the specific claims that Destiny's made. So,
signaling her intent to sue me, she since filed her lawsuit in which she claimed.
Will you watch Willie Mack debating anti-Destiny people upset with him? It's hilarious. Did I watch Willie Mack's video on stream? Because I thought everyone's so mad about Willie Mack's video. There were some things in there that like I think that people took umbrage with the claim that Kelly Jean and Lav had a revenge porn server. I think that's fine. Saying that Willie Mack has never put out a good video and it's all lazy and he's sweeping for Destiny is fucking insane. Yes, you have a video. Oh shit, I have a whole ass video. Yeah, I thought that his take was pretty fine. And also, let me be ultra clear. And again, my opinion might change after watching this response. Okay, my last big video is my reaction to Willie Mack. Hey, well, isn't that nice? But yeah, let me be ultra fucking clear. My opinion on everything could change given this response. Maybe I was a huge fucking asshole. Maybe I was super fucking wrong. Maybe. Okay. But I'm not, just like given everything else, all the other responses, I was very disappointed in those other responses. But he's not irredeemable. My opinion on that could change after watching this video. I don't know what his response is, but like, as of his last statement that I saw, I don't think that he's irredeemable, but his credibility is fucking massively shot. And it would be hard to recommend people watch him for, I'm not sure if I could recommend it to anyone right now, you know? Hey, can you unban my YouTube account? Fuck. Can you remind me what the username is, and then I can try and do that? Or Tron can do it? I'm waiting for the court of law. No, the court of law doesn't matter for this. The court of morality, my personal moral intuitions are what matter to me on this one. Because all that will say is whether he was liable of revenge porn, according to U.S. statute, whatever the fuck. Beheller trespass, that's right. Tron, can you unban Beheller trespass from YouTube chat for me? No, Jews Talker said only Willie's Hassan videos are good. Oh, is that what he said? Yeah, that's fucking retarded. Because I've liked Willie Mac's videos. I think that he does like generally good on his videos. One second, let me fix this thing. This thing is bothering the fuck out of me. But yeah, I don't think that, again, and this is like really hard to like have this position. It feels like I don't think that he's wholly irredeemable, but like what he did was like pretty fucked up to the things that he has admitted that he has done in those DMs and stuff. Like he fucked up pretty fucking bad. And, unless this statement changes a lot, he's fucked up really fucking bad. And he needs to take accountability, and that's my take.
I shared explicit material we created together without her permission. Until now, I've stayed away from addressing the exact claims she's made in her post and subsequent lawsuit. While it's important to explain my purpose for writing this, it might be more illuminating to quickly explain why I'm not writing this. I am not writing this to appease the accusations made against me by anti-fan communities or other vultures who are here to simply hype up whatever stories they can involving me or others around me. Mr. Girl, love. I'm not writing this to divulge every single personal detail of my life for the public to comb through in order to harass me or others around me. I'm not writing this to respond to the multitude of claims made about me that have been circulating on the internet, sometimes for over a decade. For the majority of these claims, I simply don't wish to rehash every single wild claim or baseless accusation someone throws my way, especially when they're demanding I divulge even more personal information to do so. And, more importantly, I shouldn't be forced to provide that level of personal access to my life. I've already had my privacy violated in the most extreme and disgusting ways over the past few months, and I don't enjoy having every single private interaction I've had held up under a microscope for the internet to psychoanalyze. I do, however, feel compelled to provide a bit of backstory to my audience for you to have a bit of an understanding of everything that's transpired over the last few years relating to this incident, if for no other reason than to dispel at least the worst assumptions that some people have made about me, even within my own community. If you're unhappy with the level of personal details, or if you wish for me to divulge more about person ABC or situation XYZ, I don't care. You can simply leave. This isn't to say that I won't.
Let me think. Is there any like additional? I'm trying to think if there's anything like that is a line for me. Personal details. I think like the biggest thing is like if he says that Pixie, like he had Pixie's consent at some point, that would like massively change things for me. If he, let's see, man, it's a pretty high bar because he kind of fucked up, dude. Also, Kelly Jean is mad nobody's talking about her. I'm sorry. Even through everything, I still can't like Kelly Jean. The disaffected fucking bonger voice where like she's never wrong, but everybody else is always wrong to her. And then she's also like, God, I fucking, I don't hate her as much as I hate Lav, but I do hate her.
won't address other things in the future.
Oh, wait, hold on. Berto said, this response makes him even more cooked with the pending litigation. IMO basically is a Pixie smear video. Can't believe he even put this out, but hey, even more funny. Okay, well, we'll have to see.
Probably will, but one piece at a time, okay? Why wait so long? I'm sympathetic to people who view me negatively, even in the worst light, because it seems difficult to imagine why I would stay silent on everything that's been said about the situation so far. There are 3 reasons for the delay in transparency. The first was minimizing exposure to revenge porn. A great deal of explicit content of mine had been published on Kiwi Farms, including incredibly personal communications of mine. Giving this any kind of public attention is obviously a massive victory for vulture communities as well as the leaker, and a massive loss for the privacy of myself and any of the other victims involved. It's irritating that, because I'm a man, the expectation is that any explicit material of mine, leaked for sexually humiliating purposes, is just expected to be laughed at by me while being made into a joke by every community on the internet, including my own. Whether that includes those maliciously lying about our hookups for purposes of public humiliation, or selectively publishing explicit leaked material online, all of it is incredibly disgusting and invasive, doubly so when I've been expected to just roll with it. It's incredibly bizarre how many people are fixated on insisting that I'm not a victim in this when I was the primary target of the entire revenge porn posting, while other people were...
I think that when it comes to labeling Destiny a victim, is he? Yes. But the problem that I have personally, I can't speak for anyone else, because if I'm honest, I really haven't watched any, I've watched very little coverage from anyone else, especially those who are close to this, right? Like, I tried to watch J-Stock last night just because I wanted to hear whatever logs about him getting doxxed while I was driving home. And in the entire ride home, not a single fucking DM was fucking read out loud, which was very fucking annoying. So, like, I can't speak to, like, what he's saying specifically here. So is this really a revenge porn victim incident? That's what the legal case is going to be about. Whether or not it's actually revenge porn, that's the legal case. But whether or not he violated his friend's trust is undeniable, unless he has some evidence that she was, like, actually totally fine with him sending her nudes to people. It's the fact that it's his friend, right? Someone that's, like, you know, close to him, both geographically and, you know, like, as a friend, you're close to your friends, right? And then you, like, violate that trust, and then just, like, everything after that is pretty bad. Thank God it'll just muddy the waters for you. Yeah, no, again, like, all of the opinions that I've given on this are, like, totally mine. I'm not influenced by anyone's opinions. It kind of sucks to be a little bit centrist on it, even though I am pretty, like, hardcore denouncing Destiny and saying that he needs a better response. Like, I'm also not saying that he needs to be fucking unalived. Unalived? Why did I say that? I meant to say, like, depersoned, like the actual fucking meme. Like, he doesn't need to be depersoned because he did this. It's still shitty, and he should take accountability. It's really, like, honestly, it's the initial action, but, like, worse than that, it was the response afterwards, I guess, that, like, kind of rubbed me super fucking wrong. Berto, you've been jerking it to the leaks. That's right. Problem is, the only one who cares he's a victim is a sycophant. No one cares where there's multiple women coming out. Yeah, well, yeah, there's 2 that I know of. But, and now there's, like, even more players that are being introduced into all of this, and people are, like, using names that I've never heard of to, like, fucking win the fight. But, like, yeah. Anyways, at the end of the day, it's not that it doesn't matter that Destiny was victimized in this. Yeah, he was, like, undeniably. His nudes were leaked, and his, like, admittedly very strange looking penis was put out there on display on Twitter in front of my eyes. And that personally makes me mad that I had to fucking see it. But yeah, like, him being a victim doesn't really matter for the context of what he's being criticized for, right? Like, yeah, it sucks. People are making fun of you. I agree. That's really bad. I agree that it's bad that this person posted this shit to Kiwi Farms. I don't like Kiwi Farms. I don't think that it's a good site full of, like, good people, right? And I don't think that they would say that they're good people. They're internet terrorists, and I think that they're proud of that a little bit. But this has nothing to do with Trump. I think that we should just keep it to like the conversation about whether or not it was Destiny that did something bad. In regards to this statement that we're getting right now, in terms of like talking about like who fucked over Pixie the most, that's a discussion that you can have, right? I think that President Sunday and Beckett are totally up to be fucking majorly criticized over this shit because, like, obviously. But yeah, like bringing Trump into it, I don't think is useful for anybody, especially with all those fucking freaks on Twitter who are like, Destiny did this and that's bad, but like Trump is in office and therefore we gotta rally around him, you know? Destiny has a pattern of behavior and he calls all the women he's been with crazy, including his ex-wife. Yes. In his defense on that one, he surrounds himself with a lot of crazy fucking people. Like the argument would be he acted so recklessly to cause harm to Pixie. Most don't matter. You don't sue poor people. Well, yeah, of course. But what is that in reference to? Do you think the court case even matters, or is everyone's minds made up already? Some people will say that the court case changes their mind, but it doesn't. The court case literally doesn't matter to me, except for the fact that like Pixie was probably put in a position where she had to prematurely announce that she was going to do that because of President Sunday and Beckett. It's just me and Gas arguing. Gotcha.
Undeniably harmed by these leaks, they were seen as collateral damage to the publisher of the material and the website providing hosting for it in the goal to attack me, whether it was through reputation, monetary harm, or just some other form of sadistic humiliation. The second point is Pixie's privacy request. Once the leaker published and hosted all of my explicit content on Kiwi Farms, Pixie messaged me and informed me that she didn't want confirmation of her in any part of the material. She said, I'm 100% denying it's me, by the way, since it's not super clear my face or anything like that. I haven't told other personal people in my life about it. This is me talking, basically, if you have any specific requests about like removing anything, and then it's just her saying, I don't want to testify or be named in anything. As far as people asking me, I'm just saying it's a lookalike. Don't tell anyone privately either if it's me or not, basically. Pixie messaged me and informed me that she didn't want confirmation of her in any part of the material. As such, I made no public statements regarding her appearance in any of the leaked material. She has since filed a public lawsuit, which is why I feel comfortable speaking out now. All of our conversations until December 10th were almost exclusively about contacting law firms, removing any explicit material online, and minimizing her risk and exposure to any online abuse or harassment. Pretrial settlement, the third reason. The vast majority of cases are settled. I Googled, there's a lot of numbers, it's all 90% plus. Suit, which is why I feel comfortable speaking out.
There's no proof he was hacked. I think that nobody like thinks that he was like phishing linked hacked or anything like that. I think that the claim is what we all agree happened, right? Like he gooned with some 18-year-old girl and then she gave her access to someone else, and then that person found out that she messaged Destiny and started leaking. So I think it's like the colloquial term of hacked.
Now, all of our conversations until December 10th were almost exclusively about contacting law firms, removing any explicit material online, and minimizing her risk and exposure to any online abuse or harassment. Pretrial settlement, the third reason. The vast majority of cases are settled. I Googled, there's a lot of numbers, it's all 90% plus. Before they ever go to trial, and the vast majority of them before they aren't even filed in court at all. One of the big reasons why lawyers encourage their clients not to discuss their case.
Is the person who leaked them facing any punishments? Well, Destiny is supposedly suing Kiwi Farms and trying to find the identity of the person that did it, I guess. One second, let me catch up with chat. The hacker might be the worst person to Pixie, but you don't sue poor people. Oh, no. The worst person to Pixie in this was Destiny. The hacker didn't care about literally anyone else in those logs. They were going after Destiny. The worst person to Pixie here was Destiny for sending out videos that, according to what he said in DMs before this, were things that he shouldn't have sent. So Destiny is the bad guy here. I'm sorry. And is that person facing any punishments? Probably not. Is it a defense? Whether he was conscious of it or not, he should have responsibility for putting crazy people in his life. I mean, listen, I have the worst ADHD you could possibly imagine. And I don't say that like hyperbolically. I mean, like, I've been tested. I took an ADHD test last night. Okay. That was like a medical ADHD test. Brother, I got like about the worst ADHD you can have. All right. Never once off my medication. I've been off my medication for like basically since I moved to DC because I haven't been able to afford a fucking doctor visit. That drive doesn't come from ADHD. It comes from whatever fucking sexual deviance. And I don't care about being a sexual deviant. That's fine. Fucking suck all you want. The problem is that it's dysregulated in his life. Okay? I'm going to break out the fucking therapy speak now. It's dysregulated in his life. It harms his personal and professional relationships on a fairly regular fucking basis. And it's bad. And now his son is getting sent videos of him sucking cock on the internet. And is that directly Destiny's fault? No, those people are wrong. But like, Destiny acts like there are no consequences for his actions because he's, done crazy shit all the time and got out of it with his career every single time. It might not happen this time. Yeah, the hacker probably didn't even know who Pixie was, or that it was that she was in the videos, if they did know who she was. Can you see the meme? Let me see. Unrelated meme, but fun considering. Okay, also, just so you guys know, we have about 10 minutes before I got to end. Oh, my girlfriend told me about that. Evidently, the lawyer for Diddy that quit was Osama bin Laden's lawyer. Osama bin Laden's lawyer couldn't represent Diddy.
Publicly, especially before it's been filed, it's because you lose a lot of leverage that you might have otherwise when it comes to negotiating a deal with the opposing party. If this seems confusing or unintuitive, that's fine. Just keep it in the back of your mind because it'll become much clearer later on as I explain this. Events. In April of 2022, I was contacted by Rose. We maintained an amicable friendship up through 2023. We never have any fights or disagreements about anything. We were always on good terms with one another. In November of 2024, as I was filling out my Discord friends list of people I no longer speak with, I noticed the account was still added and we hadn't spoken in a while. So I sent a message to it, checking in to see how she was doing. I have strong reason to believe that at the time I did that, someone besides Rose was logged into the account, scrolled up to see all of the messages we'd exchanged, and took steps to protect their identity so they could dump all of the materials they'd found in our messages to various Discord servers and eventually Kiwi farms. The leaks on November 20th. Future posting. Whoops. On November 20th, 2024, the Discord user Solo began to leak huge swaths of personal messages between me.
Are you telling me that this whole fucking thing came about because you fucking messaged this girl to fucking goon again? This motherfucker was messaging her to fucking goon again. He wanted another taste. God damn it. God fucking damn it.
Me and another person across several Discord chat rooms. President Sunday was sent these messages and decided to do a dramatic reading of them for his YouTube channel. Several days after he and other parts of the internet had their fun exploiting leaked material from my personal life, Solo messaged me sometime in the morning and said that he was unhappy with how the coverage of the leaks had been so far. He felt as though people weren't giving it enough attention, so he was going to leak more from my logs with Rose if I didn't allow him to come on my stream and speak with me. I don't exactly remember what the message to me was, as I just woken up, read it, and then responded briefly before going back to sleep. The next time I checked my messages with him, everything had been deleted. On that same day, November 29th, 2024, Solo dumped every explicit video I'd ever exchanged with Rose onto Kiwi Farms. One of these videos allegedly showed Pixie and I engaged in a sexual act, and she subsequently messaged me and informed me of the leak. When Pixie posted on her Substack that she had to contact me about the situation first, this was the first time I was actually even made aware that explicit material of me involving others was being posted on Kiwi Farms. I think she puts this in here, note, I had to contact him asking about the situation before he sent me this message. I think I was in the shower when I got this DM, and I didn't even realize it had been posted, but okay. Time passes. I contacted a law firm in New York and began to pursue legal action relating to the revenge porn incident. Pixie made it clear that she did not want to be identified in any way in these leaks, and it's just retreading the same messages. I agreed, and I spoke nothing at all of it publicly and continued to work and stream or pursue my legal cases in the background. All of my communications with Pixie over the next week pertained to removal of the material and pursuing actions against the leaker.
Leaked material of your personal life that was personal material of someone else's life that you leaked. Fucking true. All right, guys, listen. That conversation with Mr. Demetrius went on not significantly longer than I thought it was going to, but quite a bit longer than I thought it was going to. So we are going to have to end, and I'm probably going to just start the video over from the beginning next time I stream, which, again, I'm going to have a lot more streaming time coming up because of my new and improved fucking high-paying, big boy job that I'm very excited to start. So, no, stay live. I'm sorry, I can't stay live. I gotta go. It is time for me to leave. My girlfriend is waiting on eating food from me, so I cannot keep her waiting. God hath no wrath like a girlfriend who has not been fed. All right. No, we're only 7 minutes and 50 seconds into this. If you want to make a short out of something that I've said, then you can do that, but I'll make a full video next time. All right. Anyways, I love you guys very much. I'm going to have to find Discord really quick. Or not Discord, OBS, so that I can end stream. Love you guys very much. I'll catch you guys next time. Oh, yeah. Don't forget. Like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's very important. Use your fucking Amazon Primes and shit, fucking... I don't fucking know. Okay, bye.